Hey everyone, how are you doing today? It's Marla. Hopefully everyone is doing well. This is going to be sort of a very short, little fun video. These are some products I like to use as base makeup. What I refer to base makeup, I mean things I use kind of as foundation that are lighter weight foundations. As I have aged, I no longer purchase or have a desire to purchase regular foundations. I really am heading more towards skin tints or serum foundations. I just don't find that regular foundations, especially the ones that are more medium to full coverage, work for me anymore. They make my skin look older. They go in every wrinkle, every pore on my face. These are kind of three of my favorite options that I use during the week. I go from one to the other depending on kind of what I'm looking for. Some offer just a touch more coverage. Some offer a little bit more breathability and hydration, but these are three quasi foundations that I use as a mature woman who's 57. Really have to say I do anyway, away from anything that is too cakey on my skin, makes every line on my face show, and actually makes me look so much older. Let's get into this video. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be short. I only have three, and let me know if you tried them. Let me know if they've worked for you. Now, most of these, or at least I think all three of them, I'm not sure about the last one, they're not going to cover things up like, you know, severe acne scarring or things like that. I don't have that on my face, and I've taken extra care this past year and a half to really get my skin in great shape, so I need less foundation. Right now, I really only need a little bit of coverage to cover up some redness when I'm doing exfoliation or when I may be using Retin A during a period of time. That's really the only thing I need. Other than that, I have my skin texture looking the way I want it, and it's nice and supple and plump. So I think that's it. These are three of my favorites. I want to share them with you. Let me know if you've tried them yourself, and let's get started. As I've gotten older and my skin has gotten more wrinkled, I have found that the less, as many of you have also found out, the less stuff you put on your face when it comes to the base makeup, foundation-wise, the younger you look. I really don't ever go into a store anymore looking for a foundation unless it's a serum foundation or more of a skin tint, BB cream, something like that. So I have been exclusively using mainly very lightweight BB cream, skin tints, things like that in my skin. And I found a couple that I really love. The first one is from Pixi, and I love Pixi. I used to not like this company. I don't know if they've stepped up their game or what, but the products I've gotten from them lately, I really have enjoyed and loved. And this is the Pixi H2O Skin Tint Tinted Face Gel. And this is what the bottle looks like. It's supposed to be a very hydrating, long-lasting skin tint, a very sheer, easy application, very smooth, and makes your face feel really like it's breathable. That's the one thing I can't stand, is the sensation on my face that my face has a mask on or is being suffocated by foundation. I really want my freckles to show through and things like that. I don't want to look like I have a mask on my face, especially since I am older. I think the only people that can get away with really a super heavy full coverage foundation are young girls. That's my own personal opinion. But this is really cooling, very hydrating. Again, Pixi is cruelty-free. So for anyone looking for cruelty-free products, this is a great choice. I have mine in number 3, warm, and I have kind of olive complexion, and this works perfectly for me. Usually when I get kind of base makeup and it comes in a very tiny shade range, like light, medium, you know, dark, I never do well because it's either like super yellow or super pink. But this is kind of like a peachy shade. And I'll show a picture of it right now, what this shade warm number 3 looks like. This is the skin tint. It has a great little applicator, very sanitary, and this is what the shade looks like on my skin. It's water resistant, paraben free, and fragrance free. The only thing I have on my face right now is my vitamin C because it's the morning, even though it looks dark out. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. And I, this morning, did not use my vitamin C, the 23% one, I think it is, from The Ordinary, because that one is so greasy. I'm hoping that the 30% one that I just ordered is not as greasy feeling, but this one is super greasy. When I put it on my face, it just feels like really gritty and greasy. So I used my vitamin C from Skiderm this morning, or Skiderm this morning, on my skin. And the only other thing I'm going to put on my skin before I put on the makeup is some of the Ordinary High Spreadability Fluid Primer. I don't know if I talked about this. Everything I put on my face, at least for the base makeup, I'll list down below. But I love this Ordinary High Spreadability Fluid Primer. It is probably one of the nicest primers I've ever used. I probably am going to talk about it or have already talked about it in a favorites. And it just makes your makeup have such an amazingly smooth surface. Now it does have that silicone feel, but wow, this primer is just awesome. That's all I have on my skin. And you can see I have a lot of redness to cover up around my nose and around my cheek area. I've been doing a lot of derma rolling since I saw Melissa 55 do it again. I had all my derma rollers jammed into a drawer, and as usual with gadgets, you know, you start using them and then after a while you just stop using them. And I said to myself, I need to pull that derma roller out again and try it again. So I've been using that, and I also have been using a little bit of Red this past week. So my skin is kind of angry. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to do is just correct a little bit of that redness like I would always do with my Wet n Wild correcting palette. This little green shade, you can see I've actually hit pan on something. I'm so excited. I love this stuff. So I'm going to put this on all my little red spots. My voice is cracking at 5 o'clock in the morning. All my red spots. All right, I think unless I want to put the stuff all over my face, I've covered up the majority of the red spots on my face. So I'm going to take my Pixie H2O Skin Tint. I love, as I've talked about, this little pump it has on there. This is the shade Warm number 3, and you can see what it looks like against my skin tone. It looks kind of very goldish color, I guess. It looks like kind of like a goldy, deep golden color right now. When I blend it in, it really does look a little bit more like a peachy shade. I like to use a brush for this because it is so lightweight. I tried using my hands, but I don't like the way it spreads with my hands. The Beauty Blender just seems to move it all over the place, but not let it settle on my skin. I have found that I prefer the brush the best and kind of a dabbing motion of the brush, because if you rub it too much, you just kind of like rub it all over, but it doesn't set on your skin. So I'm just going to kind of dab this all over my face. And I can even put this on my eyelids. Most foundations I would never put around my under eye area or on my lids because they would make it really crease. I can put this all over my face. It's one of those kind of skin tints you put on and you have a hard time getting it to stay in the place that you put it down. I don't know if you know what I'm trying to get across, but it's kind of like when you rub it in, it moves with you. So you kind of really have to dab it in. So that was kind of the first layer. I'm just going to put a touch more right in this center area where I have so much redness right now. That is the amount of product you're going to see on your face. I mean, you're not going to get too much more of a covered look from this when it comes to covering up imperfections. But I really like this because even though it doesn't look like a lot right now, when I put the rest of my makeup on, you're going to see how really beautiful this looks. It makes my skin look like skin. This just looks like my own skin. Now, at first when you put it down, it is a little wet, sticky, and that's why I do powder this more than I would normally a regular foundation, serum foundation, BB cream that I would put in my face that might be a little bit drier. So I will powder kind of this central area of my face. But when I put down my bronzer and my blusher, the powder from those products take away a lot of the shine, which you'll see. So I'm going to put the rest of my makeup on and I'll come right back and I'll let you see what a full face of the Pixi skin tint looks like. I put all my makeup on and you can see what the finish will look like once you apply other powders to your face. I really love this look. It looks like really it's my skin. Now again, you can see where I originally had some of that redness. It's still not completely covered up, but I don't care. I love this skin tint so much and I just think it makes my skin look like skin. So that is kind of my goal when it comes to finding kind of a base makeup that works for me with my 57-year-old skin. I just love this makeup. So if you're looking for a skin tint that can kind of give you a little bit of color correction when it comes to unevenness on your skin, I think this is a beautiful choice. And you can see it is a little dewy looking, but part of that is due to the lighting I have right now. It makes everything look shiny. I have 2 desk lamps blaring at my face as I'm filming in my iPhone. Some of that glare is not seen in person, but if you know me and what I like a very plump, hydrating, smooth look to my skin. And I think the Pixi H2O skin tint does that. It's fairly inexpensive. It's not, it's not like you're buying a Dior foundation or Dior skin tint. Very accessible. It's in Target. That's where I got mine from. It's a really great option. Now for a second foundation or serum foundation that I think really is a great choice for mature women. I really love the Ordinary Serum Foundation. I'm hoping that over time they don't start increasing the price on this because this stuff, now that I have it in my greedy little paws, is so good. It's perfect for someone like me who has mature skin, wants to make their skin look younger and plumper, doesn't want it to kind of make your face look like you're wearing a mask or settle into a lot of fine lines and wrinkles. The only problem is trying to find your shade. I got 3 of them and I'm going to show you the shades I got right now. These are the 3 shades I purchased from The Ordinary. 2.1Y, which is a medium yellow shade. 2.1P, which is medium with pink undertones, and 3.0Y, which is medium dark with yellow undertones. I ended up mixing the 3.0Y, which is on the top, with the 2.1P, which is on the bottom. And out of those 3, I really think mixing 2 of them works for me really well. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday. I'm just going to put on some of this Ordinary High Spreadability Fluid Primer. And that's really the only thing I'm going to put on other than my Wet n Wild Correcting Palette in green for some of this redness. I still have the same amount of redness on my face as I did when I did this yesterday. So it's going to be kind of a good comparison if you look at how much coverage this gives me compared to how much coverage the Pixi skin tint gave me. Right now I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Color Correcting Palette, the green shade, which I love and I've spoken about many a time. I'm going to put that on all my red areas. And as usual, I have redness right where my sunglasses hit me on the side of my face. And really red. Just kind of spread that out a little bit to cover a little bit of that redness up. I've tried to put this foundation on a couple different ways, by hand, with a beauty blender, and again, just like I did with the Pixi skin tint, I prefer to put this on with a brush. Everybody has their own personal preference. For me, I like a brush. And my 2 favorite shades to mix together are, I like to mix a little bit of the 3.0Y, which is in medium dark with yellow undertones. I put some of this on, and then I mix a little bit of 2.1P, which is medium with pink undertones. I know this sounds crazy. Why are you mixing pink with yellow? For some reason, the one is too yellow, the other one's too pink, the one's too dark, the other one's too light. Put them both all together and they come out really nicely. So I'm going to mix this up. And again, like I said, I'm going to mix this with a brush. And I don't know if you can already tell, but there's a huge difference in coverage with this compared to the Pixie Skin Tint. It's tough, really, with any of these, though, to cover up a lot of redness with kind of just one coat. And then on my forehead, I have a couple of shades coming similar to these with just a slightly different tones, maybe one a little bit darker, one a little bit lighter, and I'm going to see how those work for me. I can really work with this. So I think you can see already, this has a little bit better coverage. It still doesn't have a complete coverage of the redness in my face, because I have even a lot of redness on my neck from where I was using Retin-A, and it still has not covered that up really well. So I think that's about the only amount of coatings I'm going to put on. I don't want to add any more than that. And then I'm going to put the rest of my makeup on, and then you can see a comparison of this serum foundation with the Pixie Skin Tint. I will be right back. I put the rest of my makeup on, and this is the final look that I get with the ordinary serum foundation. Now, when I look in the mirror with this one, definitely much better coverage. This would be something I would more likely wear out if I was going somewhere like, I don't know, like a nice dinner, or if I really wanted more of a fuller coverage looking foundation. It seemed to cover up a lot more of the redness on my face, and it looks really good. Now, when it comes to kind of that super natural, this is my skin, gorgeous look, ridiculously hydrated look, then I would have to say I would have chosen the Pixie. But if I'm going out to dinner, I want to look good, I want to try to cover up things on my face like redness and things like that, then I would definitely pick the Serum foundation. It is a beautiful foundation. I mean, when you get older and you have more mature skin, you're going to have lines and wrinkles, and it's tough to cover those up. And the more you pile on there, the more it looks like cake face, and it just accentuates your lines even more. I really think this is a great choice, especially for a mature face. It does a good job of covering everything up without making you look like you have a mask on your face. This is another kind of product I would consider being a great product for many women who are looking for having something that gives them a more youthful appearance. And both the Pixie and the Ordinary Serum Foundation are also great for me in Colorado because they give me a lot of hydration. I have yet to test these in Florida. I will be taking them with me when I go back that way in October, so I'll see how they do in the humidity. I'm not looking forward to that. But so far in Colorado, I love both of these. They both have kind of their pluses and minuses, and both serve different purposes for me when I go out. But this is really beautiful, and such a great price. You can't beat the price. I wanted to show you this as another really wonderful option for mature skin. The last foundation that I really like for mature skin is a mineral foundation. This one is by IDUN. This product was originally sent to me from the company through Octoly. I tested it out and really liked it. It became really one of my go-to powder foundations. I don't like a lot of mineral foundations. I feel like they make my skin look a little older. This one doesn't. This one is really a beautiful choice, especially for me when I go back to Florida and the humidity is cooking. I'm not sure I'm going to be wanting to use a serum foundation. I may want to use more of a mineral powder instead. I love the packaging on this. It is beautiful. The stats on this are it is talc-free, fragrance-free. It has a lot of free stuff. Let me tell you what's not in this. No talc, no oils, no silicons, no fragrance, no bismuth, no oxychloroquine, fluoride, no nanoparticles, and no parabens. This is a Scandinavian company. This product was originally developed by Scandinavian scientists. This is in the shade Svea. Svea, I think that's how you pronounce it. I will put it down here. It's a mineral foundation in warm medium, and it is made of 100% highly purified minerals. Again, this is what the packaging looks like from all sides. I really like the packaging of this. I think this is so beautiful. It reminds me kind of like of a Monet painting or something like that. I love the cover of this. And I think I did really well with the color matching because I had to do it online through Octoly, but I think I did really well. And I like this also because it does have a sifter. I don't like when when companies give you these mineral foundations and there's no sifter. It's ridiculous. It gets everywhere. So I'm going to put a little bit of this in the cap, and they suggest that you use the kabuki brush that they sell with this, but I'm going to use a slightly different method for putting this on. I'm going to use almost a completely dry beauty blender, and there's kind of a method to my madness, but I'm going to use this. I'm not going to do any color correcting with my Wet n Wild color correcting palette because I feel that the stickiness of this will just make the mineral powder adhere more in those areas, and it's going to be really uneven. So I put some of this in to my lid. It's a really good match for my skin coloring. You can see I still have a lot of redness on my face, and I'm going to use this. It really is almost dry, but you can just feel a slight bit of dampness in this. I'm just going to really just dab this on my face. And I find I get the best coverage by doing it this way. That's one coating of it on my face. You can see really, really, really beautiful. There's still a little bit of redness right here. I'm going to do a little bit more with the powder, and then I'm going to go in with the rest of my makeup and show you what the final product looks like. So we're going to add just a second. You can actually layer this quite well, and it works beautifully. If you look at it right now, you can still see a little bit of redness right here. If I go in with the kabuki brush, it's actually a little bit worse when it comes to the coverage. So that is why I started using this beauty blender. It really doesn't accentuate my lines. It almost looks like a cream foundation. It is so finely milled that it just feels so soft to the touch. So I'm going to put the rest of my makeup on and let you see what the final product is with my IDUN Mineral Foundation. This is the final look with IDUN, the Mineral Foundation. I love this one too. It looks beautiful also. I think the trick with this, at least for me, is using kind of a really almost dry beauty blender first, getting it on that way, and then sometimes I go in with a kabuki brush just to polish it. I seem to get a little bit better coverage if I do it that way. This company is also cruelty-free, just like the other two products I showed you. So it's nice. Everything in this video is cruelty-free. I know a lot of people had asked me about this when I did a previous video on their liquid foundation, and at the time it was a little difficult to find this, but IDUN is now available in the United States, which is great. And this really gives me a very luminous, very natural looking finish, which is something I want at my age. And their main focus is letting people know that they have very highly purified ingredients, good for all skin types, especially good for sensitive skin because it is so highly purified. And they also contain no chrome, no nickel, and no microorganisms. Another good choice. And this is a great choice for someone who prefers more of a powder type foundation, someone who maybe has even an oilier skin. This goes on like a cream. I love it. I applied my makeup just like I normally did. There was no sticking. I had no problem with it. With putting a liquid on top of this foundation, it blended in beautifully. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of my favorite base makeup products that that I like to use on my skin. And I will leave links just to the websites of these companies so you can check them out if you haven't looked at them before. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye from Marla.